Hello and good evening. It is Wednesday, November 10th, 2021, and we just finished watching the 8th episode of Survivor Season 41, Betraydar. But we're just getting started here. I'm Dave Mader. I'm joined with my brother, Jeff Mader.
Hi.
And co-host Jaemeel Robinson.
Yo.
And we're all here to break this down here on Super Mader Brothers Podcasting as we're streaming live here on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch, or you might be listening to us on the audio version or wherever you get your audio podcasts. Let's get into this. Hey, Sam. Sam's with us, and he says that Xander reminds him of a smarter Fabio. Jeff, do you agree?
This is season 41 is just 21B. This is what this season is. I've been saying it every podcast. Is he smarter than Fabio? Actually, I don't think he is. I think Fabio was smarter, but Xander is like Fabio would have found that scroll tonight, Dave. I don't know about you, but that was pretty brutal how he didn't find that.
Here's the thing. Here's the ultimate thing. Is Xander smarter than Fabio? No, but he's still pretty smart.
Yeah.
Now, were the people that Fabio was playing against really smart? Not really.
No.
But were they smarter than the people that Xander is playing with now?
I'd say so. I would say so.
So, like, you go down a rung. We could have a similar result, but I think otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll see. Xander is not smarter than most people, I would say. But I think that he's a little bit underestimated as well. A lot to break down in this episode as we see Tiffany get voted out tonight, guys. I didn't think it was going to be Tiffany. I really thought this was going to flip to Heather.
You were hoping.
I was praying for it. Guys, I don't pray, but
she got 50% of her confessionals for the season.
Yeah,
tripled them in one, in one episode, basically. So,
yeah, like this tribal tonight, Jeff. I'm sure it was not your favorite again. It was kind of.
Amanda is the one. She's getting fed up with Jeff. She's about had enough. She literally picked up her once they got up off the stump. She's just picked her phone up and started playing Candy Crush. She's not having it.
Because it was like it's time to vote, and then Heather blew it all up, Jeff, and then but not really. Apparently, like what happened here tonight?
I think I don't think Tiffany was going home originally. I feel like Nasir was going. All right, originally it seemed like it was going to be a split vote between Xander and Tiffany was going to go home.
Right.
And then Heather wanted to switch everything to Nasir.
No,
right?
No, that was originally came. So originally it was okay. We're gonna get out Tiffany, but we're gonna try to flush out the idol from Xander. Right. But then what? I don't know. But then Deshaun was like, "Well, we should really think about Nasir too."
Well, it was Danny said that. It was actually Danny.
Maybe it was Danny and Deshaun have been talking about Nasir. Like they want to get him out eventually, right? Yeah. Like they're working with him for now, but he's not really part of their long term. It seems like. And then it was like, but Shannon didn't like it. Shannon was like, no, Nasir gets us papayas or payas, and we need him right now. It's not, and I kind of agree with Shannon's logic, but it's also, her game, her social game is going to be her undoing.
Social game? What social game? She's the cult leader, and she wants to completely dictate what everyone does. Deshaun had a right to be upset with her the whole episode. She is so abrasive as a player.
So
Shannon is starting to piss me off a lot.
I agree with both sentiments. One, Deshaun is absolutely right. I'm getting called out. I didn't have dinner, okay?
Leave him alone. He's guys winning.
I'm just having fries, okay? I'm sorry. As long as the card doesn't show up and start taking it.
You should have a Frosty, Jaemeel, and just like Big Brother Canada, be dipping your fries in that Frosty.
Oh, that's nasty.
I know, I agree. I don't like it either.
So, Deshaun is absolutely right. The way Sham is talking to people, I remember I'm still calling her Sham, is like so rude and so overbearing. But at the same time, I could understand Sham. If the difference between you having something in your belly and just dying, and not, I mean, literally dying, but I mean, like being so like an emotional wreck where you can't really play, because we're already seeing people start to crack already.
Yeah.
And Nasir is gone, and Nasir's the difference. like that's trouble for a lot of these people that are just hanging on. And I think that Deshaun and Danny, they're not thinking it through because the rewards are going to start drying up, right? And then they're going to have nothing to eat. They're not even getting rice. They're not even getting rice, right?
Well,
they did tonight. They did it after this immunity and this whole, and we got to get into that. Like, that there was this whole, they had to negotiate for their immunity, and we can talk about each of those 4 people that ultimately chose to sit out and what it really meant for them. And guys,
is Nasir voting with Danny and Deshaun? I feel like he is or has been. So why do they want to get rid of him right now? It makes no sense. Like, I agree with that sentiment that for them, but they just want to get rid of him because he's likable. I think they are threatened by his likability, and they don't like it. And
he's more likable than them.
Yeah, and it's like what happened to the boys, and we're worried about this girl power thing happening. That's out the window, and so like it's interesting the way they're both Deshaun and Danny are looking at the game
from a ruthless angle. I think really, and I think that they're threatened by Nasir. I think maybe Danny more than anybody, because I think that Nasir could potentially beat Danny in a real like endurance competition, or even a swimming competition where Nasir is a beast.
Yeah,
this guy, he could do anything.
Single-handedly brought that other team, right?
He pulled them in. It was only because Evie knew that puzzle that team won. Otherwise, Yellow was going to be this underdog story tonight in that reward challenge. Mm-hmm. But Evie, they had her on the team, even though she wasn't the best swimmer. It came down with her and Nasir were going head to head at the end there, and he really helped make up some time there for his team. It didn't matter because Evie was head.
Nasir proves to me that, like, how everyone talks about like an immigrant spirit and a hardworking spirit and all that stuff. Like, he
American
exemplifies
dream.
that. Yeah, but like at the same time, like when I kind of see like a Danny. Especially like a Danny, like here's an NFL pro football player. He's got it made for life. He's made enough money that he's set, right? And he's threatened by this guy that is like this, I don't know. I enjoy Nasir's outlook. Like what happened today with like the food and everything, the way he reacted. He's like, look, what are you going to be? It's going to upset your whole day. Like
I don't need grilled cheese. Like I'll get grilled cheese and steak at home.
I love that. I thought that was like, that's the best way to look at that. Like all these people whining about not getting a sandwich is just like, to me, just shows you like they don't even like appreciate why they're there. Like I get they're hungry, but like
I think this year's like these people don't really know what it's like to be hungry. Like
right.
I think it's he's got a way different toughness. He's like, I just go get the papayas because I'm tired of seeing them die. Like, so I think Shan in particular, but also Leanna, they just like those two, they're already like so thin and to start, and they're getting no calories, and they don't, and so there was a lot to break down in this tonight. I don't even want to start.
He could have just got the food himself and just ate it. He could have just ate the food.
Yeah.
Like, and then come back and was like, I only found one, and he gorged himself on 3.
He doesn't even need it. He's not even that hungry, it seems like.
Which is what like a Tyson and Jervis would have done.
Coconut bandits.
Like that, the coconut bandits, right? Like that's what they would have did. And Nasir's a nice guy that he's like, I don't want to hear them bitch anymore, I think is where he's probably coming from, and I can understand.
Suffer. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think he cares about the suffering. He has to hear it. And you know what I mean?
And it's endearing him. It's making like Shan like him, right? And want to keep him around, not even want to like, she's like, no, do not take my Nasir away. He brings me papayas. I keep saying papaya because that's how she pronounced it when she got mad at Rickard.
I was so bothered when he took a piece of the papaya.
Papaya.
Yeah.
So like,
go ahead,
Joe. People who provide. There's 2 people that provided for the tribe, and that was Nasir and Sydney. And they already voted out Sydney for the fish, and now they're gonna take Nasir too. Like, ultimately, I agree with Sham, right? For the sake of the tribe, right?
Yeah, but I don't think that's why. Like she made it very clear.
I think
She made it
picked
very
herself.
clear why she didn't. It wasn't because she wanted to protect Nasir, guys. It was
No.
because she has a thing with certain players in the game that she knows are going to figure her out. The next player she's going after is Deshaun, because Deshaun is like made a very public transgression against her at Tribal, and so I think if you're not on in the cult, you're out of the cult. That's the type of player Shan is. She's Boston Rob. She's coach. She plays like that. And I don't
That's
think
what I do as a pastor.
That's what I do as a pastor.
Even if she gets to the end, I don't think she's getting the votes unless she sits beside like a Heather, and you know what I mean, like a Heather, and I don't even know, maybe Ricard. You know what I mean, like
Leanna?
No, Leanna will get enough votes. College student who at least took swings and put herself out there as opposed to impose her will like Sham did. I think Leanna would be able to get the votes and rustle up sympathy. And then also people will feel like Sham is trying to pontificate, and that'll turn people off immediately.
I don't think she has honestly, I don't think she has a prayer to win the game, because I just don't think she's likable.
What do you mean? I have her in the draft. She's going to win.
I think she's honestly one of the most unlikable players if she gets to the end. Like she is just. Do you see what I mean? Okay,
I think the previous person, Sydney, is possibly, if she had an open forum in Final Tribal to speak her mind, which I think she would have. Oh my gosh. I think Russell Hantz probably would have been able to win Samoan Heroes versus Villains 5 times over. My God.
I am like the threat of threats.
Yes.
Yeah, the ego on that girl was through the roof. I think I agree with what you're saying, but at the same time, Sham is one of these players that she's a bully. Like, and I guess if she could own the fact that she's a bully, but I think she buys her own BS, so I don't think it would come from that. I don't think she would be very open and very
she's a brilliant player, Jeff. Listen to oh wait, here's
then I gotta hear it all, and I've got to convince them that still my way is the best way.
But you do that in a way with charisma, not like blunt force trauma.
Right. Which is what she does. She's a bully of a player.
Together, she's got to get the parishioners.
There's a lot of members. They got a lot of thoughts about this potluck, this evangelistic idea, this trip they want to take.
She's used to this.
How could you go back to your clergy after this?
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised she's bringing that stuff up, because how do you go back and go, you know what? I am listening to you, but I'm not. But
we saw you on Survivor, Pastor Shan.
Yeah.
How did at one point did Nasir pronounce Shan's name as like Shine?
That would surprise me.
He was like, I like this Shine and Ricard. So it was like that. I was like, you see, talking about Shad?
He's the best TV character on this cast by far.
He has to come back.
He's coming back
every season. Put this guy on the show. I'm with it.
Do you know who I don't want back on the cast?
Heather?
Probst. No, Probst.
What?
Sometimes when you think you're on the outside,
shut up.
You're exactly where you want to be.
That's
but
all
it
I'm saying.
only works for the smart player who is always looking for opportunity.
Why? Why is he doing this? Nobody asked for this.
It's a new era, Jeff.
I don't care.
It's a new era. They're hungrier.
Honestly, Dave, I feel like I'm watching anime sometimes because of the constant flashbacks. I'm like, I just saw this. It was the last episode. You wrapped this up in a previously, and I don't need to see it again. In the middle of the episode, when people are talking, they're flashing back to previous stuff.
Right.
And not like in the classic, you hear the chime and they show an image and then they chime back. No, it's like they're replaying full scenes. I'm like, how much new content am I getting in this episode? I feel like I'm cheated. And then I have all this Jeff monologuing to the camera. Like, don't monologue to the camera. Either it's found or it's not.
Yeah, I kept thinking they were going to fake us out with the whole thing with Xander, where they hid the note under the bench. And I thought it was going to be like flashback. He actually did find it, but we don't find out till later or something like that. But that's not actually what we saw here, because at the end of the challenge, he goes, "Hey, they didn't find it. Oh well." And
I don't mind the flashback stuff so much. Like, I think there's been some clever editing this season. That I don't mind. The probe stuff is cringeworthy. It's cringe. It's like, what is he doing? Like, why? Like, nobody asked for this, Probst. Like, nobody wants you to be planting the thing and giving us like this weird monologue. You're not on Australian TV. Like, what is going on? Like, I'm just so confused with why he decided to do this. You know,
in a season with people complaining about too many advantages, we're now deciding to show the advantages that people don't get. Like, what? Cut it out.
Yeah, that's a cut. That's a leave it on the cutting room floor because it literally had no relevance to the game. It basically just showed that Xander wasn't smart enough to find it. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah. You know, like he has an idol. He was smart enough not to play it tonight. So, you know, like,
even though they tried to get him to, basically,
did they really try? They didn't feel like they tried.
Well, you saw Rickard tried, like, you should play it, man. You should play it, and he ultimately doesn't do it. Even though he did get votes against him, but it was just in case he did, I guess, or in case he played it for Tiffany, or because and I think we have to kind of go back to the beginning, you know, a little bit here and talk about where this episode starts, because it's the little sea turtles that could or couldn't, the Yasa. Remember, Yasa is a disaster.
No. Yasa is a disaster.
Yeah.
Disaster. I can't make a rhyme from that, but I got it here somewhere. Where he's just like, this tribe sucks.
Yasa has been a disaster in challenges this entire season.
Right. And you know,
it's like previously on Survivor. Yasa suffered a devastating series of losses.
Yasa has.
But then
I was expecting that to come back again tonight.
I thought so too. Like they've had quite the story in this season, but coming out of this tribal where Leanna betrayed them, and you know there was this thing where they got Leanna's to use her up her advantage, but ultimately Evie didn't get the idol played for her at the tribal, and she was only saved, as she explained, at this tribal, you know, because what was her name? Sydney had played her shot in the dark, and so therefore that kind of saved Evie. But they don't come out of this tribal as a united three whatsoever. They are scattered to the wind. Four of them really, because Leanna was already on the outs with them, and now the other three have decided they don't want to work together anymore. They're all throwing each other under the bus. They're kind of going at it, saying like, I don't want to work with them anymore. I'm a free agent now. And Deshaun, he is not having it.
The three Yasas come to me after having voted for me and then telling me they want to work with me in some capacity. No,
like Johnny Mac, Jeff.
Stupid. Deshaun should be like, you know what? Like, say yes, be like, I'm willing to work with you, and then figure it out from there. You don't like, I don't know, brush them off and just be like, no, screw you, because later you might need that person. Stupid gameplay, in my opinion.
Big brother rules. If someone offers to have you join up, you say yes, and then you play off of it as necessary. You never say no, because no just closes the door. Exactly what you said, Jeff.
Yeah. No, Deshaun.
No.
Deshaun says no. Sorry. Right. And so the whole thing, he says, I'm not a third grader to Heather. Some good stuff here. And we kind of jumped right into it. But what did you guys make of this whole thing with the Yasa 3? Why, like the fact that Evie and Xander and Tiffany were not on the same page mostly in this episode coming out of this vote? Did you agree with their own individual choices here to sort of like try to get in with whoever they could? Xander maybe being the most successful of the three, but not really.
Xander was the only one who had a strategy. Like, he was the only one who was like, you know what, I'm going to go sit out. I'm going to go talk to the people that are hungry and sad and whiny.
Gave up his spot in the immunity too, right?
He was the only one who had a strategy. Leanna was just like, I'm already in with Shan, so I'm just going to ride that wave. Evie was like, I'm comfortable. I'm going to try and win immunity. She ends up doing that. But like, if she hadn't, she would have been probably gone tonight, you know, instead of Tiffany. And so like she basically was like, you know what, I have immunity, I don't even want to play because I just need chaos to occur, which is a fair it was going to happen. And then who was the other player? Tiffany. Tiffany was going home. You know, like
She is so utterly unlikable.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like, that's part of her charm in the grand scheme of things, right? That she's like, she'll do whatever. She's so cutthroat. She'll do whatever she can to put herself in a better situation. And she's at least wise enough to kind of smell BS to know, like, yeah, there's nothing there. There's nothing there for me. And plus, at the same time, Dave, they split up. They look for a crack, and they find themselves in. If it doesn't work, they'll meet up again and go, no luck, no luck, no luck.
I guess we only have each other,
Yeah.
right? So I guess so you're not thinking that they were playing survivor suicide here by kind of throwing each other all under the bus here, saying I'm not with you, and the rest of them, like the Luvu group especially, was kind of like, is this some kind of ruse? Are we being played here by these? Is Evie some kind of mastermind? Is she telling Xander and Tiffany to say these things, but really it's all for show? They're not quite sure what to believe. So
that's what Danny said. I mean, I don't think Danny's playing too hard, guys. Let's be real. Yeah, he's a pro athlete that doesn't really understand how to play Survivor. It's pretty obvious every time you see him in a scene. He's very awkward. He's very like not sure how to go about this, and he's kind of relying on other players just to make the hope that they don't take him out. And it's a miracle that he's still around. I mean, it really is, because
he's the perfect person you take to the end.
He is. He's a great like Troy Zan. He's a great
third place.
Yeah, he's a great third place. He really is.
Because nobody will want to give him the money over somebody else.
Yeah, and
almost anybody else.
He's like a dumb Survivor player. He's not a dumb person, but he's a dumb Survivor player. And
what's his final tribal going to be? I gave 110%. We had a game plan. The sweat start trickling down. Coach said to follow 100%, and we did it. We followed the game plan. Good
X's and
defense,
O's.
We competed. There was a winner and there was a loser.
We competed. And there was a winner, there was a loser.
And I should be the winner. And that's how it goes.
It just goes to show you like how NFL players look at the world. They're like, you win, you lose. So that's some days you win. That's any given Sunday. Anybody can win,
But preferably I win.
Yeah, preferably I win. I want to win the Super Bowl, but only one team out of 32 can do that.
So it's next year. There's always next year. Next season.
It's always next year. You know what? If I win an individual award, that'd be nice.
Yeah. One team, one dream. One team, one dream.
Right. So you can say like, and without Deshaun, I don't know if Danny would be doing as well, but he seems to like. I think Deshaun kind of tells him pretty much what to do strategically, and they have a good thing going. I think.
Can we talk a little bit about this dynamic between Deshaun and Shan, and like who's gonna win here? Who's winning out?
None of this.
But who's getting further in the game, Shan or Deshaun?
Honestly, I think Sham. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because who is Deshaun's third?
Deshaun's third.
It could be Nasir, but he's willing to get rid of him.
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's Leanna, maybe.
No.
No, Leanna is Shams is Leanna's second. Leanna is Sham's third.
Could it be Rickard?
No, those like Shan has those people under her belt. Like that's what Jameel's saying, Dave. Like does Deshaun? No. Deshaun should really be roping in Erica, a girl he wanted to get rid of. He should be roping in Nasir, another guy he wants to get rid of. These like Deshaun is not playing well. Like he comes across as a good player on the show, but he is not a good player.
What?
Yes, dude.
I have him in the game. Like I drafted him. I am not convinced he's gonna win anything because of the way he doesn't really understand numbers and how this game works. Like he doesn't. I don't think he's not good at like even tonight. Like with Sham, like I get the Sham's pissing you off. You don't let her know that.
Yeah.
Like you just go, yep, okay, yep, and then next week after the vote. You start going to Erica, you start going to Nasir, and you go, let's get Sham out, and that's what you do. That's how you play Survivor. You don't go, I'm treated like a third grader and get all pissy with people. And like it's just bad gameplay.
He doesn't like being told what to do, but I think a lot of people are just kind of over Shan.
You can't tell me what to do. Like he is like a petulant child.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm gonna go with you guys. I'm okay at tribal. Like, come on, right?
Yeah.
So let's rewind 2 weeks. What were people complaining about this all black alliance?
Yeah.
There's nothing to worry about. It's literally Survivor is built this way. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work in Survivor. No, you're absolutely right.
It barely works in Big Brother, but
it was a miracle. It was a miracle it happened in Big Brother. It really was.
Yeah,
against the best efforts.
Let's talk about the reward challenge. What do you guys thought of that? So we talked. Well, you guys already said you didn't like Jeff doing the hide in the thing, and his like, you're sometimes when you're on the outside.
Sometimes when you think you're on the outside, you're exactly where you want to be.
Exactly, and then he does the whole thing, and then he might have retired. Come on in, guys. But maybe we have a successor. Bring in the boats.
Bring in the boats.
Bring in the boats.
Bring in the boats.
All right, first of all,
advantage.
I know Jeff's been around for 41 seasons, but I don't and I know he's a producer and he doesn't know shit about being on the outside or being on the inside. He's never played the game. Yes, he's been around every season. But come on, he doesn't.
Can you imagine
know.
if they threw him into the game? That would be like making the warden a prisoner.
That would be great if they could throw him in the game or something, or throw Julie Chen in a game in Big Brother or something, and just see what happened. It would be hilarious, I think, because I don't think they would be anywhere good at the game at all. I think they would suck horribly.
So if Jeff Probst gets in Survivor, it has to be like Russell Hantz needs to be in it, and Boston Rob and Sandra.
But yeah, like an alumni has to be the host. It has to be, you got to dig, Probst.
I would love Boston Rob. Hey, Probst, you got to pick it up.
Pick up the pace.
Dig, man, dig.
Yeah,
Julie Chen would make all like religious Jesus alliance. I do love Jesus.
Jesus, he said, "Walk this way," and no, that was Aerosmith, but
Run DMC.
What you call X? Child of God.
yeah.
Right. But the whole challenge, okay, we had two teams here. We had the whole draw rocks thing again where they had to pick the thing. Erica ends up being the one to pick the neutral rock, which was basically to get a chance to get this advantage. That was but no chance of getting the reward. And Xander offers to give it up. I agree with you. I think that Xander was trying to do things to for better or worse, at least he had a strategy. It might not work, but at least he was trying, I think, more than Tiffany and Evie were in those aspects. They were just trying to hold on. Of course, these two teams, again, it is what it is. It's the luck of the draw. It's kind of what the teams we got from the last challenge, from 2 episodes ago, more or less.
It was.
It really was. Yeah, because Nasir ends up on the yellow team along with Leanna, Tiffany, Heather, and Shan, if I didn't mention her.
We were not stacked.
They were not stacked against Evie, Erica, Deshaun, Danny, and Rickard. And so do you think that Xander won any points here, especially maybe with Erica for doing this? She ultimately does get this reward and gets the grilled cheese. He doesn't care.
I think it was smart of him to do it. I was surprised nobody else objected. First of all, Erica didn't agree to Jeff. All right, I'll do that. Jeff just went, all right, you want to do it? Go ahead. It's like if I was Erica, I was like, hey, don't I get to say in this? No, you don't. I'm Probst. I'm running the show. That's kind of what happened. And
then what would have happened if somebody else no, I want the gray rock, because maybe they would look at it as an advantage. And what if 2 people wanted to take it from Erica?
Did we not see what happened last challenge? Literally a challenge. Well, 2 challenges, 2 a reward to go. Right?
Yeah. They had even numbers, and they were like, we're making an advantage occur. It's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Well, the whole reverse time thing that Erica did. Jesus.
I smashed the hourglass and I changed the course of history.
I remember Erica.
Here they had, odd numbers, so it was a little bit more like, okay, I have to do this. But last week it was ridiculous. It was like they made it happen.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a bit forced in that with those particular numbers. I think when you have a group of 11, it makes more sense. We said these Yellow Tribe, even though they were going to be this great underdog story until Evie was like, I made beads at home for this like challenge, which was from Edge of Extinction, she says. And hey, Jeff says that's what it gets you.
That is what research and practice gets you.
It's like how many seasons ago? It's a couple of seasons ago. What research?
And practice.
So she did make the beads, she said, and stuff. But like, yeah, this was an Evie like is the beast like episode. She won the reward challenge, she won the immunity challenge, but is nowhere socially. And it's interesting. She's kind of like that. She is like that, like little like weasel that comes in and goes, "Hey," and she kind of is. She's like, "What's going on with you? Okay, you don't like me? Okay, go over to the next person."
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's kind of how she moves. And like, I don't know. Like, I think she's in a fine spot. I think she just needs chaos to occur, and then she'll pick up the pieces. She
needs people to stop paying attention to her, but she's also calling a lot of attention to herself with moves like this, especially this. But hey, like, it was impressive how quickly that was solved. It was like boom, 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 done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she did it in under 20 seconds. It looked like, like it literally looked like did she pick to be in this challenge? And maybe, you know what, she probably saw it from the other side of the pier or whatever and saw what the puzzle was, and she goes, I got this,
yeah.
And
we just have to make sure we have to keep up with the other team.
Yeah, and she was thinking about it the whole time, when in her head she's like, I'm gonna get up there, boom, 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 and do it.
Right.
That's how you do it right there.
I hate Probst when he does this stuff too. It's like, that's how you do it. That's how you play this game. It's like,
that's what you get a grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese.
It's like, that's why you need to make your challenges more unique.
Yeah.
How about that, Probst? Yeah.
That's what research gets you.
Yeah.
Everyone for 42 is like, I went to the library and I studied all the puzzles. There's going to be like a survivor prep boot camp where it's just like all the old puzzles just like run through over and over again.
Can we not invent some new puzzles?
They try to sometimes, but like, I don't know, it's like probably a budget thing and stuff.
Like there's gotta be so many puzzles that they could like create from children's toys and just make bigger, right? And that's kind of what this was.
They have the magic toy. Like, if you ever watch like the YouTube videos or the Facebook videos, you see like the magic toys where it's like, there's a trick to solve this puzzle. We have to spin the unit, and then the both beads end up on opposite sides. If you try to balance it, it'll never work. But you have to think outside the box to get it to work. Like something like that. Let's, go get a magician, trick puzzle. And that's what we start introducing.
Mary likes that they hid that. I think she means Jeff hid that clue, and Jeff's getting it done. She thinks maybe, I don't know. I don't want to put words in her mouth.
Mary, do you actually like all the Jeff Probst exposition and everything he's doing on this season? Let us know in the comments, because this is getting ridiculous.
I'm okay with it, Mary. If you're, don't feel like intimidated by these two. They're not for Jeff Probst's exposition, but I'm like, bring it on. He's the host of the show and the producer.
Who we sham?
Yeah,
we're like bullying our opinion onto people.
No.
Yeah. Who are we? Yes. That's.
Are you like the cult leader? Well, Jeff says he's writing his name there. He is. Okay. But let's get back into the. Did she comment back? Oh no. She goes, no. I don't like him talking to the kid. Okay. Well, then I'm on an island then. Not on a Survivor island.
You're on Jeff Island.
I'm on the Jeff Island, where I'm sure the food is better anyway.
I don't even like calling him Jeff. He's Probst. He's giving my name a bad name.
He's taking your name. Just like I thought that Kit Harington's character had done in Eternals, but it was actually a Dane.
Yeah, Dane Whitman.
Anyway, the whole thing about the whole divide after the reward, and the fact that what I am liking about this Survivor season is that they have been so hungry, and that and especially people like Shan and Leanna, maybe in particular, are going out of their minds, right? Obviously, like, Tiffany was not happy about the team.
We were not stacked.
Yeah, and
I'm 47 years old. Feed me already.
yeah, she's not having it. The whole divide, like Erica's like, I've been dreaming about chips and sandwiches, and then I get sandwiches and chips. That's so amazing. I guess they've done this before, right? Where you have the reward at the camp, so like the people who don't win have to kind of live it a bit more closely.
I think they should do that.
Did you guys know this about like this? What Rickard explains tonight. Here, I'll play it.
There seems to be this divide that I've never seen as a fan from home. If you go on a reward, you're expected not to eat anything else that day. And all the food that comes from the island is our tribe's food. And I try a bite and I get snapped at because I want a reward. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Okay, he got snapped at by one person. The one person he's supposed to be the most closely allied with, by the way. And if I were Rickard, why are you trusting this girl? Like, honestly, like, why? What is, like, yes, you've been through some tribals together, but like, she very clear. Yeah, what power does she have over you? Like, she clearly wants to ride with Leanna. She's making it like abundantly clear. And you're like, I'm good. It's my master plan, I think, in his head that, this is what I want people to think that, but that's actually not what's going on. And it's like, yeah, that's what's going on, Rickard.
I think there's some kind of like cost benefit ratio here where with Shan and his alliance, where like his capacity to see her as a player he can work with long term versus like who he can beat at the end, which I think he thinks her bossiness is ultimately going to be her undoing, which I think is probably true if she got to like the final 2 or 3, whatever it is. And so, but on the other hand, like she's such a wild card and she does seem, like she's not going to stick loyal to him. So it kind of comes down to like, who is really driving the bus between the two of them? Is Shan just more vocal and running around and trying to do more? And is Rickard actually more the better player?
Well, Rickard, I think, is trying to be like, you know what, let her take all the bullets. She'll go first, and that's probably true. But she has all these powers that will probably save her and make him go home, Yeah. So why not stab her in the back first? That's what I would do if I were him.
Yeah. Mary's saying here, that was so dumb, that little piece of papaya.
I was so bothered when he took a piece of the papaya.
She was so bothered.
Sam says Shan goes next week or the week after that. We'll see.
I don't know about that. But here's the thing with her, like, she is such a person of control. Like, everything must be controlled. And if it's the new banana etiquette, who came up with that? James, and he literally, I think he went home that episode with the banana etiquette. Like anybody who crosses the food line, and it's not even a real line, it's all arbitrary. It's basically the person with the biggest voice gets upset with about it can basically make you go home. And that's what happened with the banana etiquette too.
Yeah,
but I just feel like Deshaun as this big huge dude, like the amount of calories he's used to taking every single day, like he's gonna crash hard, right? Yeah. He's gonna crash really hard once these rewards stop coming, and like he's gonna crumble. We're talking about how we've seen Sham and thing. He's gonna crumble.
Well, that's kind of Shan's point here, especially when he, on this whole Nasir plan, where she was, where Deshaun was like, well, maybe and Danny were like, maybe we cut Nasir even now, and she was like, no, you guys don't understand. Like later on, when there's less rewards, and you guys are going to be way hungrier, and it's gonna, you guys have been used to winning. You got grilled cheese and chips and whatever, and 2 days ago you had a big feast, and so
Danny's he's a professional athlete, and not only a professional athlete, an NFL player. Do you imagine the amount of the meals that man eats before a game, or the day before a game? And he probably eats like 10,000 calories before he plays. Like for him right now, everything's going well for him. But you're right, Jaemeel. What happens when 4 days go by, no food, I guess they're lucky they got the rice. You know, he's lucky that people were willing to give up their immunity, and he wasn't one of them.
He was never going to win this challenge. I didn't understand why people like, no, I want to take my chance. I'm like, have you not seen this challenge before? You are not going to win. It's not built for you. It's not.
I was surprised.
Lasted 4 minutes. Anyway.
I was surprised Heather did as well as she did, because I was like, originally I was like, why is she not? She's not winning this, you know? And she was actually, I was wrong. She was actually the exact type of person that could win this. I thought, to me, it was like you should be either like light, tall, skinny. Like I always think about Spencer, and he mentioned him tonight in the episode. Probsted, like Spencer was tall, lanky, and he went like 10 minutes or something like that. And that's ridiculous.
The record was an hour and a half or hour and 20 or something like that.
Oh, is that how long he went? Oh my God.
No, that wasn't him that did that though.
But I don't know if it was Spencer, but they
he was
said
the last one that won it.
He said that was like the record was like an hour. And
oh my
plus.
God. I don't know how you could do that.
This was the shortest ever. This was the shortest version of this challenge ever in history. This only lasted 4 minutes because a lot of the competitors were out of it early.
They're also like way hungrier than the competitors that played it before.
Right. They're just like, let's get this challenge over with so we can get back and boil our rice.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of what happened. Yeah, you're right. Like, I was surprised Danny didn't go longer than he did. I mean, he's a professional athlete. His legs are built like freight trucks. Like, you know, how did he not last longer? Like, you're an NFL player. Like, really? If like your coach was making you do it, I bet you could last longer.
Were you surprised that like Nasir chose to sit out of this challenge?
Nasir, all right. Did you not notice that the 3 people plus Ricard that sat out all had idols?
I did not notice that, but actually, it's a good observation. So Shan was like the ringleader of this. She was like, "I am so hungry. We must have rice. We must have it." And how many people? And so she's like, "I'll sit out." And Nasir was the second person to join her. And then it was nobody for a while.
Xander, then yeah.
It looked like the deal was dead, but Xander's like, I will do it if it's 4. I'll be the 4th. You know, and so Rickard eventually is the other one to come along. So yeah, you're right. It's the 3 idol holders here. And I think maybe that's a gesture on their behalf to say, like, we all know, you all know we have idols. So we will kind of don't vote us out tonight. And, you know, we all get rice here. So this is kind of a gesture.
I don't know if that was a gesture about it. It wasn't Shan's not going anywhere. Nasir and Xander, though, were definitely worried about going home tonight.
Yep.
Right.
The challenge is called Keep on Your Toes. And you are correct. The record is in an hour and 30 minutes. And that was the amazing duel between Spencer and Tasha.
And Tasha, yeah.
Yes. Who else? They did it in Game Changers World Apart, Edge of Extinction. So once again, Edge of Extinction comes back again in terms of challenges, repeating again. And
I'm glad that twist is gone. I hated that twist.
Yeah. Who won that? Or Aurora won? Can't even remember who Aurora is. Honestly. Who?
Right. And then in terms of this challenge, like right away, as soon as it started, Deshaun, Erica, and Tiffany were out within seconds of this challenge kicking off.
Not surprised.
I thought Erica would do a bit better. She's pretty short, you know, like, but yeah, I think you do need to be tall. I think, like, I know it's all based on height and they fix the bar at a certain length or whatever, but like, I don't know, maybe it's your feet that would really help. Strong feet.
You have to stand up on your toes, and so you have to have, like, I think it's just balanced. Being used to being balanced upon just on the balls of your feet, like that.
Certain feet type I think would help, and pain, I guess, like be able to take pain.
Yes.
Edge of Extinction, someone passed out during the challenge. I think I remember that. Yeah, like they fell right into like their face, right? Yeah, that's right.
I can tell you who. I have the page up still. Lauren passed out.
Lauren. Yes, I remember that. Yeah, that was scary. I remember that was like that. They even showed us like next time on Survivor, someone's gonna pass out and almost die. Check it out next week. But don't worry, they won't actually die.
I'm looking at the person. I'm like, I don't know who this person is.
I don't remember that season. Isn't that the season where the guy literally played like 7 days and won the game? Like, wasn't that Edge of Extinction?
The first one, right? I remember the lady, the first one voted out, who was like there, who was out there for like, I've been out here for 100 days. Like, don't you tell me, Jeff, what's going on here at Edge of Extinction,
Yes.
Who was
that?
My
I forget her name.
Chris Underwood. Chris Underwood was the person who won.
How many days did it?
Thank you, Sam.
Reem, yeah. How many days did Chris Underwood play, Jameel? Can you?
Okay,
wasn't it like
it was like 5 days?
No, it's like 11 or something. It's more than that, but it's like 11 days of the 39, and he won the game. It was like ridiculous.
Why he looks that up?
He was voted out.
Yeah, but then he came back and he played like 5 more days or something.
So yeah, he played like a total of 15 days, maybe, or something.
I think it was like
in a 39-day Survivor season. Yeah. Here's a question from Sam. What was the scariest medevac you guys can remember in Survivor?
There's 2 of them. One of them is Caleb, obviously.
Yeah.
Beast Mode Cowboy, and then the other one was I don't know if he was medevaced, but it was Russell, the Russell who sucks.
Oh, it's Black
Russell Swan.
Yeah, Russell Swan.
Yeah, that one was
the weird
scary
voice.
Too. Yeah, with the weird voice. Yeah.
I would say Scoopin'.
Scoopin' was scary.
Wasn't Penner taken out of there too?
Penner, yeah.
Yeah. Not Caleb though.
I remember Caleb. I think Caleb has to win because Caleb's like the eyes went into the back of his head.
I think the scariest one was actually Scoopin'. Yeah, I think that was the scariest one. That was ridiculous. That one was gross too. Like they showed his hands and it was
Here's the problem with Caleb. Not Caleb, sorry. The other one, no, am I saying Caleb? No, not Beast Mode Cowboy. The annoying dude that we just mentioned, the one
Russell Swan.
No.
Oh no, the eyes roll back was Caleb. That's who he said.
Okay, yeah, Caleb. I honestly thought, is this some kind of play? Is this some kind of joke that he's making or scheme? Like I didn't believe it. So.
International Survivor, someone died.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
What country was that?
Fill us in on that one.
Is that? No.
I could see that being like Thailand or something, or like like just some like country with not a lot of regulations or something like that.
I know for Big Brother, one person died outside of the house, and they just canceled this season.
Oh wow!
But let me ask you this though. Okay, let's back to this immunity challenge. Were you happy for Evie to win this tonight? Were you guys rooting for her?
I was rooting for her based on last episode. I thought she was the underdog. I still think she's the underdog. The narrative changed for me, but then she spoke, and that
she spoke
when she was talking about the Yasa tribe, Dave. With the, I connected with Leanna the most, and it was like, why? Like, why did you connect? You literally just chose her because you're both girls. Like, that was your whole reasoning. And it was like, made no sense. Like, like you're smarter than that. Like,
she didn't want to remember Vochi, remember him?
She should have stuck with him or like somebody like, I don't know. It didn't make much sense to like, or Xander, like, yeah, like it made no sense why she was like, I'm with Leanna. Like it was, Leanna was clearly willing to ditch you.
Like they could have voted out Tiffany. The vote they voted out. Instead, they voted out Vochi, right? Instead, but if Vochi was here instead of Tiffany, I think this would be a whole different game. Especially for Evie.
I think they would have won more challenges as a tribe.
I think they'd be well more positioned. If Vochi was here, like if everything else went the same, but it was instead it was Vochi here instead of Tiffany. Right, I think that Vochi would be more likely to make connections with people like Rickard or with others, like and gotten in with the alliance. But Tiffany, I think they all look at her and go, no, like she's not going to work for us.
To answer your question about who was going for, I was kind of going for Evie because Heather had opened her mouth and was so utter. I'm like, this is what you have to say, Evie. Please don't make this person get immunity so she has to talk more. Right at this point, I was willing to leave our draft and lose so that Heather could be gone. My gosh, what a waste! What a waste.
Who Heather's a waste?
Yes.
Yeah, like
Heather almost won this immunity.
Oh my!
She almost won this immunity, and she still stayed. And the whole scene. Did you guys like the scene tonight where she was like, "Hey, Shan, you could have failed me in," and she's like, "Shut up, Heather." You know?
Yeah. Are you even on this show? Don't you know I'm the star of this show?
Who are you? Why don't you have a camera? Oh,
you're lucky you even got a diary room.
I've had 50 some confessionals already in this show. You've had 3.
I think she's up to 3 as of tonight. She got and it only came back after they came back from the immunity. And that's where it started. We talked about it was like Shan's like, okay, plan is get Xander to play his idol, but we're really going after Tiffany. At least we're going to because we can't take Evie out because Evie would have been the de facto target, but she's not here. And then everything with Nasir is like, I trust Shine. He calls her Shine, which I love. And Rickard. And then we got Danny wanted to target Nasir. Deshaun got into the whole fight with Shan about I want to feel heard. I just don't want you being the dictator of this alliance. And she's like, I will make you feel heard, Deshaun.
The condescending from both ways was palpable. I can't wait to watch more of it.
Yeah. Mary's saying here, I wish they would have voted out Heather. We all wish they would vote out Heather because she's.
Here's the thing. I didn't understand why they were complicating this vote. Half on Xander, half on Tiffany. If Xander uses his idol, right? It's great.
Why not put the majority of votes on Xander though?
Why? Like, look, it doesn't matter however you split the votes, because you have more votes at your disposal than there is remaining people on the other side.
I know, but why not put the majority?
Can we go
of the
through that though for a second?
Yeah.
Can we go through the votes? Because there were 5 votes on Tiffany. Okay. And then there was 2 votes on Heather, 2 votes on Xander, and 2 votes on, am I missing one?
I got the whole breakdown here. So who do you want to know?
Yeah. I want to know who the 5 were that voted Tiffany.
The 5 votes for tonight for Tiffany were Deshaun, Erica, Heather,
okay,
Leanna, and Shan.
Okay, who voted for Xander?
Danny and Nasir.
Okay, and then who voted for Heather?
That would have been Tiffany, Evie, and Leanna.
No, that was it. No, it was Tiffany.
Oh, sorry,
Evie,
no,
and then
Tiffany and Evie. Yeah.
Okay, and then there was one other person that got votes, right? There was 4.
Oh, and then for some reason,
Nasir got one.
Xander voted for Nasir for some reason.
Nasir got 2. Did he not?
No, just
one. One.
Just one? Oh, I thought you got 2.
Why that was the one I couldn't figure out. Why did Xander vote for Nasir?
To flush out the idol.
Because he's dumb. Like, yeah, that's right. He was told Nasir, and he was like, I guess Nasir.
Yeah,
he was told a lot of things. He was told Heather a bunch of times too.
He was also told to play his idol, and he was smart enough not to do that. So
is he smart enough, or is he just kind of like dumb?
So
I don't know. I don't really get what he's doing. Like, yeah.
But as I said, if let's say they went 4-3 in terms of their vote scheme, right? Would the other team would have gotten 3, and it would have been a tie vote. They would re-vote, right? There was no extra votes put in. Again.
No, yeah. Everyone's like saving their advantages for like a rainy day, all the time. I don't get it. Like, they're down to like 11 now, or right now 10. There's only 10 left as of tonight, and there's only like 10 days left, or something, right? So like this is all going to wind down very quickly. They're kind of saying not yet. Just going back, the whole thing that like started off this, like they were like something's going to happen. There was like at the tribal, we're just like, what's happening, guys? You seem calm. And they're like, we're not. We're on the edge. Someone's gonna get up and whisper something. And was the whole like chaos like rehearsed or planned, because there was just this whole thing about, well, we got to tell Xander and these people, we got to tell Xander and Tiffany something, and Evie, I guess, like what, so we're going to tell them we're voting out Nasir, actually. But then Shan doesn't like that, because that's just gonna, that could turn into something that Danny and Deshaun latch onto to actually vote Nasir out. So like, let's make it, they go to Nasir and say, well, we're kind of using your name. He's like, don't use my name, use Heather's name. And so now there's like a war between Heather and Nasir over who is the bottom of the Luvu group, I guess.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, you're right. It is strange, because this is not normally how the dynamics work.
What happened to Erica? They used to not like Erica, and they wanted to vote her out. Now she's with them.
She's like, there's so many players on this game where it seems like, who are you and where do you fall, and nobody really knows. They're just people to get out of the way until we get down to like the final 8, it feels like.
Right, like who's Heather? What's Heather's role in this game? And like, so Heather had the biggest episode of the season, and what do we know? She was mad at Shan and Nasir for throwing her name around, I guess, and she kind of confronts them and whatever. And then she does this big thing tonight where she gets up and tries to flip the vote to Nasir, which almost gets her voted out.
Yes, and no, dummy.
Well, like what do you think the contention was, like, other than like Jaemeel brought it up, but like what do you think the contention was with Deshaun? Like what do you think he was just like, I want to get Nasir out and it didn't go my way, and it was just like, we're getting Tiffany out, and like that was like what they decided with their whispering, and he was upset about it?
I think he just felt his powers being usurped, and he freaked out about it. He didn't like it. He didn't like the fact that, not that he wasn't being heard, that his voice meant less.
Yeah, he wants to be a big wheel at the Cracker Factory. He wants to be an important member of this alliance, and so he's and he doesn't like Shan being this kind of like Godfather character who seems to be pulling all the strings. I have a vote here, Shan. You need to hear my opinion.
He plays a lot like Shan. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think that's why these players don't like each other. It comes down to like they both want to be in control.
Yeah, but he's more like go after. Yes and no. I think like the difference between them is Shan tries to like baby people, as she said tonight. I don't want to baby you, and she's like, don't baby me. And so like that's kind of like their thing.
She basically condescendingly called him a child, which he is being.
He is.
But no child wants to be told they're a child. You know
I'm
what
13.
I mean?
I'm a big boy now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Especially when he's been running around with his merry men playing make believe, and not going to any tribal councils. And now when he's playing up to the table, it's like, I'm a lot better than they were. Underprepared for last tribal, and it showed again. Like, they can't get their stuff together. Like, I'm not even talking about the 4 cookout people. I'm talking about them as a tribe as a whole.
No, the blue tribe.
Oh my gosh, they
right?
are.
Like the blue tribe's a mess. Like, and this happens a lot in Survivor, like where the people that never go to tribal, once they finally get there, they're like, what do we do? I don't get it. This is scary, And it's like, if I was on Survivor and I was on that blue tribe, I would make it my mission to make sure, hey guys, as much as we're not all on the same page or we don't all like each other, let's just make a vow to each other that we will stick together to a point. Okay, to a point, to final 8. Okay, we'll go to final 8 together where we'll vote together, and then you can do whatever you want, but stick together, because it's going to only be to the detriment of our own games.
Well, I think that's like you see that experience on like Rickard and Shan. I think because they have gone through all those tribals. I think that and they're just savvier players than most of those Luvu players. They're just like, they get that as much as like they might get into a fight about the papaya or take in the secret vote, and they don't really trust each other. But they do enough to like stick to a plan tonight and work together on this plan, even though they're mad at each other about how much papaya was eaten.
Keith Nail would be proud.
Right.
I would imagine, like, if someone snapped at me like that for, like, eating a little tiny piece of papaya when they had, like, 8 papayas, and it was, like, literally he was just trying it, like, I'd be like, what the hell? You know, like, I understand where Rickard's coming from on that one.
But
yeah, me too.
At the same time, bro, look at the optics, right? Optics. Like, they showed, it was multiple scenes. And I could understand the later scenes where he's like, where he's having it afterwards. That's one thing. But they were seemingly just back from the challenge. And he's like, oh, I want to try it. And he sticks his hand in. It's like, dude, you should know a little bit better. Just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait.
You should have.
Especially in front of her. He should have known her better. That, you know, it's not like he didn't meet her yesterday. He's known her for 16 days or whatever.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
So are you guys sad to see Tiffany go here?
No. I'm not going to be sad, Dave, for like the next 3 votes. Like, let's face it, it's going to probably be Heather, Erica, and like I don't even know who else is inconsequential in this season.
Well, let's have a look at our draft, Jeff, and update this and who find out who did lose Tiffany tonight. Maybe
like I won't be surprised if Danny goes.
Jen had Tiffany. But she no longer does. She's 8th voted out and confirmed to be our first jury member. Let's hear Tiffany's exit interview.
It was such a terrible move. There are 3 people sitting with idols, which is ridiculous that I was voted out. It's going to bite them all. They're playing a safe game, and I just wasn't willing to play the safe game. But I'm so grateful I got to play. It was nothing you'd ever think you were going to experience, and it's a once in a lifetime. So I can't really be that upset. And I can't wait to be the first member of the jury.
It's definitely once in a lifetime. For her, she's not playing again.
She's not playing again. And the second thing is like she's upset that basically threats didn't go after threats, and she got basically singled out because she was like the easy vote. Well
I kind of agree with her. Yes and no. Like, why are they voting her out ahead of Danny? Why are they voting her out ahead of Xander? That's a good point. I'm like. Yes, split the vote. Fine, split the vote between Tiffany and Xander tonight, but put more votes on Xander of the 2. Like instead, they put more votes on Tiffany.
They thought that the vote wouldn't go that way.
So doesn't matter.
So look, if it's so, then like, what happens if? What happens if?
He plays his idol, then Tiffany goes anyway, like she did.
Well, think about it, Dave. They had 7 people voting together, basically, right? They had the 5 that voted for Tiffany and the 2 that voted for Xander. That's 7, right? So they could split it 4-3, right?
Which I mentioned before.
Right. And then if the 3 voted together, which was the 2 people that voted for Heather and the 1 person that voted for Nasir, which was Xander,
which was
Evie
like
and Tiffany,
was this Yasa 3 who were fractured from the beginning of the episode, and if they'd voted together here, and
wouldn't have mattered.
Wouldn't have mattered.
Unless they played an idol on Tiffany and voted together,
then it would have worked. Or the extra vote was used.
Right, the extra vote was used. Like there was none of that. There was no planning. There was no idea of saving Tiffany tonight. There was no Evie coming to Xander. There was no Xander going to Tiffany. There was no Tiffany going to Xander. There was none of that. There
was a bit of Tiffany and Xander, and Tiffany kind of says, "I think it's me." She kind of, but I think Tiffany was just always paranoid. And then remember, like the last.
I do not know what the plan is. You think it's me?
It could be.
Like there's or Danny was like, "It could be you."
If somebody tells you like Danny, it could be. It's you. Like it's you, and try and find a way to switch the vote or use advantages or get people to use
shot in the dark.
Shot in the dark. She should have done her shot in the dark tonight.
Yeah.
But we're confirmed now that they intended to do a final 2 here this season. We'll get the final 2 is to be determined, because we kind of think that maybe somebody's going to quit or something is going to happen. Maybe we'll get a final 3, but it seems like they're confirming Tiffany is the first jury member, and therefore we're going to have a jury of 9, presumably not 8. So it's that would not be good for a final 3. So we're going to get final 2, like old school.
I would
Do you know
laugh
what's
so hard. So go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say. Do you know what's interesting is if Tiffany had used her shot in the dark tonight, guys, and it had worked, right? Guess who goes home? Xander, because Xander didn't vote for Heather. If Xander had voted for Heather, it would have been at least 3 votes on Heather, right?
Yeah, she would have went.
And she would have went. But because he didn't, and if the shot in the dark had worked, it would have been a revote between Heather and Xander would have went home.
Yep.
Or if he had used his extra vote.
That too.
Right? Like there were plans here. They could have done things, and they could have, like, you know, maybe it just makes people more angry at them and more likely to continue to target them.
You last one more day.
Oh, I'm actually wrong about that because Tiffany's vote wouldn't have happened. I'm actually wrong about that. So yeah, he would have had to use his extra vote.
Yeah. So Jen lost Tiffany tonight in our draft, and so she still has Leanna. But can Leanna win? We think Leanna could win, but it's not a likely here.
I don't think so. I think honestly, guys, it's probably between. It seems like it could be a Xander win. It could be a Shan win. It could be an Evie
win.
An Evie win.
Evie, Shan, and yeah, Evie, Shan, and maybe Leanna. Or
why not Nasir?
Nasir's the other guy who could win, but like I just don't know.
There's no way any of those people are letting that man get to the final tribal council unless he wins out.
Yeah, that's a good way to. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
he's too
likable.
likable.
We're gonna say we like this dude, but there's no way we're gonna allow it.
Well, that's why, like, Deshaun and Danny, they're just licking their chops, right? Get ready, so ready to vote him out, and Shan's like, not so fast. He gets papayas for us.
She's smart to know that the herd won't let him get to the end. You're right, Jaemeel. Like, she's smart enough to know that.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that Rickard found out that he's actually allergic to papaya now?
That's awesome.
That's great.
Didn't know until after the season, though. Mary's saying she would be sad to see Xander go. Again, it's spelled an X, not a Z.
So Sham saved him.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically. Xander's, he's been fighting. He's a fighter, I'll give you. He like we said, he at least had a strategy compared to like Evie and Tiffany, who just kind of like, we're like, I don't know, I'll sell out my old Yasi people, whatever. Do you want me to work with you? Like, they all kind of did that, but at least Xander was doing more like overtures to try to like ingratiate himself to people. He's like, yeah, I'll sit out of the challenge. I'll go hang out with the loser people who don't get the reward, because that's when I'll be able to maybe get an in. You know,
yeah, so he's playing a lot like Fabio. Like, he really, really is.
And who is such a fan of the show that would recognize that he's playing like Fabio and would never let him get to the end as well, and will mention it to every single soul. Evie. Yes.
Yeah. No, she sees this too, I think.
Yeah.
You know, maybe Shan does too.
Shan, I don't know. Shan doesn't look at, like, she keeps saying Xander's a threat, and I think that's only because she knows he has an idol. You know, I think she's just worried about him making a big play and it working, and then, you know, she's all about, I got all the cards. I'm playing poker. I have the most chips. I just got to get to the end of the game with the most chips. You know, like, that's how. Yeah, the biggest stack. Like, that's how she's playing, and I can understand that. Like, you know, that makes sense. You know, it's logical. But at the same time, she's trying to like bully players into like going all in all the time. And at a certain point, I think that's going to come back to bite her in the ass, you know?
Like, how many times has she pushed Rickard to like the breaking point?
Right. And it worked on Rickard or whatever, but is that going to work on Deshaun? Is that going to work on some of these other players? Like, is she going to really be able to bully every one of these players and get what she wants out of all of them?
Yeah.
Damn, that was a good blindside.
Or JD?
It wasn't a good blindside. You just sucked. You gave your advantage to her.
Yeah, she still has it. She gives it away once in a while. Always gets back. Yeah. Who do you think? So you guys think next is likely somebody not important, like a Heather or an Erica? Like, if we're going to say that Erica is unimportant,
she is. I have her, and she is. She's like, sweet. I don't get the chance of getting an advantage. You know, like, she's so clueless.
Yeah, she was just afraid she was going to have to go to Exile Island again. I think that was really. And I was like, oh, will she go to Exile Island and be a quitter? Will Heather go to Exile Island and be a quitter? Like, I keep waiting for somebody to quit because I don't want my final 2 to be ruined by a quitter. And then we get a jury. Now we have to have a jury of 7 or something. And so therefore there's going to be a final 3 instead. Which
there's still have a jury 8, wouldn't you?
They'll never do a jury with an even number of people because he could have a tie.
There's always a chance that they don't.
But then it will be that time is like, okay, and then 4 votes for this person, 4 votes for that person, no votes for the third person.
And remember, they already have the plan if there's a tie.
Oh wait, the third place person has to break that tie, right?
Yes,
that's what would happen. Yes, okay.
Yes.
There's precedent for that.
Yep.
It would happen when
Wendell won.
Wendell won, yeah. Wendell against the Italian dude. Dominic.
The Italian dude. I love it. But yes, either Erica or Heather get eliminated next episode, and then Thanksgiving week, there's going to be a bigger episode. I wouldn't be surprised that's the one where someone drops out.
Someone's quitting, right?
It's day 16 now, just ended, and there's only 10 more days after this.
Yeah.
So
2 weeks from now is U.S. Thanksgiving, the fake Thanksgiving. So it's true. It would be time for the big episode. It's 90-minute special episode.
All I mean is I'm just gonna be surprised if someone like Heather quits with so few days left, or any contestant here.
Or what about Danny? What if Danny quits?
Well, the thing with Danny is that whole thing where he was, we knew he was sour after that, the reversal after the time went back or whatever, and Erica took away his immunity and made him fight for. They didn't actually pull the feast out of his stomach. They didn't go that far, but so he still got to digest those calories and everything else. But he was apparently at the tribal council. He was giving Probst a really hard time, he was saying, was very displeased with that game twist. As we saw, Deshaun conversely was like, "Whatever, man, it's season 41, and that's how you have to roll. You have to roll with it. You're on a game show, and this is how it goes, right?" Which is what it is, and we said Danny doesn't really know what game he's in. He thinks this is some version of the NFL, I guess, and he's just like, there's winners, there's losers, and we won, and what the heck? And so he thinks this is maybe more, and I think we see this in Big Brother as well because there's so many physical challenges, and especially where there's sort of that early part of the game in Survivor where your role, your contributions to the tribe, team sport aspect of it are so valued by so many that that carries through into the individual section of the game, which really it should not. It should just be anybody who's better than me should be voted out. Yeah, because I don't want to put this. I'm not going to beat. Well, maybe I could beat Danny holding a stick up next to a log, but I'm more likely not going to beat him in most things.
I feel sometimes I used to think.
What's that, Jeff?
Bated breath. Okay, well, Jeff gets his sink sink situation in order. I want to segue very quickly, and talk about this Sydney interview. Which,
with Probst. All right, sorry, with Sister Nino.
Oh my gosh, this woman! First off, he's like, I just got word that this episode is going to be viewer discretion advised. There's going to be a lot of coarse language, and she was just it was flowing, right? So, all the different swear words you can possibly hear, and the ego on her. But she was also so self-deprecating as well, and she was just kind of shitting on the entire, not just her tribe, but the entire everyone in the game. She didn't necessarily betray Blue to go with Yellow. She was trying to put herself in the middle, and if necessary, she would have voted for however to keep that way. So that was her plan. That was her plan, to be in the middle. No one was really saying her name on the island when they were merged. No one was saying her name really. It was only the yellow team that mentioned it once. That's it.
Oh, that's all.
Okay.
And she was like talking about how she was talking about Heather and how she's just messed up, and Heather in a secret scene that she mentioned. Heather said that she had a dream that Sydney stole her torch and was telling people this, and like Sydney couldn't understand, like, where's this coming from? You had a dream, so it didn't happen, and you're telling everyone it didn't happen. So you're just saying, like, you're talking about my character, but only your
in the
dream,
dream world.
Yeah, your dreamed like opinion about my character, like, and like it's absolutely absurd, right? So why I bring up Sydney is with the dynamics of this current like thing, and Deshaun and Sham and Sydney were to have a conversation as to what to do for this tribal, it would be theatrics, because Sydney's not going to appreciate being talked down to, right? Deshaun doesn't want to be talked down to, but at the same time, Sydney would be flabbergasted by Deshaun pouting like a little bitch as well, and like Sydney would have like absolutely flipped on him to that, because one thing that I took from her interview is she does not like entitled people whatsoever, right? So she would have hated everyone. She would have hated Sham for crying because she didn't get any food. She would have been mad at Deshaun for pouting like a little baby when he wasn't included and his voice wasn't heard. Right? She was like even pissed off watching the show about Heather's like inspirational victory / participation trophy. She basically said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read the Mike Bloom interview with her on parade.com, and it was she's like, what was it like seeing yourself? She's like, I'm a narcissist, obviously. So every time I was on TV, I was like, oh my God, I love me. This is so fun. With the tribal council, I went in thinking this is it. But the way I got out was so incredible. Obviously, the craziest tribal is the only reason I would go out. So
full of herself. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's a great character, TV character. I get you don't like her, but she's kind
Hero's
of a great
villain. She needs to come back.
Yeah,
she's
the
perfect villain.
Yeah,
and she'd be
I'm
like
the threat of threats.
Yeah, no, she is great. She's a lot like Parvati. Like, like I saw like there was an article comparing her to Parvati, and there's a lot of that like bravado. There's a lot of like similarities. Not the same person, but there's a lot of things that I think what made Parvati successful could work for Sydney, but she's just a little not self-aware enough. Parvati was much more self-aware.
Parvati wanted you to like her too. Wanted you to be charmed. Or Sydney wants you to like her, but not really in the same
on her terms.
On her terms,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Parvati more anyway, but yeah, I'd say like she's kind of a cross between Parvati and like Jerry Manthe, or kind of like got that villainous kind of I'm the greatest and you should bow before me. But I think a lot of that's just contrived, and she puts that on as sort of a defense mechanism too. So.
Absolutely, yeah,
for sure it is. But I enjoyed her as a character, and I have to go watch that interview with Jaemeel, because it sounds like we got a lot of the dirt on this season that we're not getting. Like, literally, how do you not put that on the show? The whole dream thing with Heather, like how
it was in a secret scene supposedly on Instagram.
It should be on the show, like
DVD extras.
We know nothing about this Heather lady, and we should, because it will at least give us some sort of.
Don't throw her name around.
It should be, that's it. That's all we know. And she cries when she cries when she loses challenges. She seems like super sensitive, and they need to like show that a little bit more in the show, as far as like how, like, I don't know who's her friend. Does she have a friend on this cast? Like, is she?
I thought she seemed to be getting along with Tiffany a little bit, because as they were just older. I don't know. Not really.
Yeah, it's kind of like I don't really get it. Like I'm getting tired of this being the Shan show, the Shan and Evie show, but I don't think I think that's gonna last.
But they're great adversaries for one another.
They're great, and I enjoy them. but I just want to learn more about the other characters a little bit more. That's all. Like,
just vote out these boring people like Heather. That's all I want. Right? Like, that's, and even Erica. Like, she's not going to be she's not going to win this game, Erica. As much as I want my fellow Canadian to win this,
Right, but like we know that because of the edit, Dave. Like, like that's part of the problem. Like, it's too heavy on like they're telegraphing it too hard, I think.
Yeah, I think I can, of who's left in this game, I don't think Erica, Heather, or
Deshaun.
Okay, just those
Danny.
two. Just of who's left, I think Erica and Heather cannot win this game and will not win this game based on the edits and the things we're seeing.
Oh no! Let's not even talk about win the game. Get to the end. Let's say it's a final 3. Who's getting to the final 3? Like, it's really, I think there's only like 5 people that have a chance. According to the edit.
Who?
Shan, Evie, Leanna, Deshaun, maybe, and
what about Rickard?
What
about Nasir?
We didn't get an answer.
What about Nasir? I think I don't know if I agree with you guys. I think that there's some really interesting characters left here in this cast. I think that I think Heather is the most boring, most pointless, most irrelevant one of them all. Here he's bringing him.
Oh my god, I don't know what's going on with the internet today. The 5th one, Xander.
Okay, all right, we got an answer.
I think only Heather and Erica are completely irrelevant, and I think that the rest of the players still left in this game are all potentials.
I think Danny is also relevant, but to winning the game, but making it to the end, yes.
And
he can make it to the end.
Leanna's this other one. I could take her or leave her. Like, she's not very interesting for my.
No, I love her tonight. Speaking of Leanna, when she mentioned that's what all the good Survivor players do, and me and Amanda just looked at each other like, yeah, and you're not one of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, well, do you guys have anything else you wanted to say about this before? Yeah, I think we can wrap this up. We're an hour and 20. So thanks everyone for watching and listening tonight and hearing us go on. And we lost Tiffany, but we'll see her on the jury. She'll be walking out. She'll be well fed. She's 47 years old. Feed her.
I'm 47 years old. Feed me already.
You got it.
She gets to get fed at jury at the house.
She was like, I'm fine with this. They voted me out. Whatever. They're a bunch of dummies. Betraydar, get it up. Also, just make sure to check out our other stuff here on Super Mater Brothers Podcasting. We just did a full 2+ hour review and deep dive into the movie Eternals, the newest movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that joined our podcast around all the different Marvel properties that have come out since 2021, starting with WandaVision. Check that out. Curious to hear what you think. Make sure to like and comment on those. We always like going back and seeing those. Also, we did Big Brother earlier this year, 2 seasons actually. We did Big Brother 23 in the US, and we did Big Brother Canada 9 earlier this year. We've done other things. Check out our different playlists to see all the different podcasts that we've done here on Super Mater Brothers Podcasting. As well, we have another channel, 2 other channels actually. One's called Trivial Debates, our monthly channel where we argue about movies, TV, sports, and more. It's on the last Sunday of every month. We did a Halloween themed one on October 31st, and there will be our next one will be coming up November 28th. So check that out. Usually in the morning that comes out, and then it's posted for the month. And lastly, we have a Live Long in Podcast, our Star Trek theme channel. There you go, Jaemeel.
I see you did out of order.
And don't worry, Sam. We're getting to the Gilligan's Island podcast one day. It's just there's so much to do.
My dad will be on. Our dad will be on.
My dad's about to get freed up because that's a good segue. I Live Long in Podcast on Monday nights. We've been talking about Star Trek. The original series, the 1960s show, all of those episodes. We talked about them not in order. We talked about them randomly since the pandemic started. And so we're just about to finish up. This Monday night will be the final original series podcast. We're talking about all our yesterdays. Like this week, we had talked about The Cage, the original original pilot from 1964 that had Captain Pike, not Captain Kirk. So if you like Star Trek, check that out. Well, Tuesday nights we talk about Star Trek Deep Space Nine at 9-ish. Last night we were talking about the season 4 episode A Session. And next week we'll be talking about rules and engagement. We've been watching all those ones in order, and now up to season 4. And then on Thursdays, we've been talking about we did Lower Decks earlier this year, Star Trek Lower Decks. Now we're doing Star Trek Prodigy. I've been doing that with Jessica Chan and Davin Skellhorn, who he also joins us on Deep Space Nine at 9-ish as well. He's from a podcast called Locutors of Trek. He's also related to me. Jeff, he's our second cousin. He does his different Star Trek podcasts, different ones, trivia games. He does deep dives into different issues like the relationships of Star Trek and different things. So anyway, so he's been joining us on the Star Trek Prodigy rewatch. That's a new Nickelodeon Star Trek show. And starting in 1 week, we're going to be doing 2 new Star Trek shows on Thursdays, including Star Trek Discovery, which will be starting its 4th season next week. I'll be talking about that later on in the evening with Adam Woodward and Michael Chan, the husband of Jessica Chan, who I do the Prodigy podcast with. So it's all in the family. Plus, on November 27th, we're going to be doing our next installment of Star Trek Radio Theater. It's happening, guys. It's been on hiatus for a while, especially it was during that whole era where we were doing Big Brother and everything else on top of it. So it was kind of it's all a fever dream blur, really. But it's a real labor of love, and one of the things we really love doing. And so I'm excited to do that. We're going to be doing a movie come December, but this is kind of a bit of a warm up. Just to take this down for a second and to bring that up into the big size. So check this out. We're going to be doing kind of a script read of the Lower Decks season 2 episode, which was only barely not even that old. It's only like a month old. This episode came out on October 7th, 2021. We're going to be doing a reenactment of it. It's called Wej Duj, which is a Klingon phrase that translates to 3 ships. Jaemeel will be in it. Jeff will be in it. I'll be in it. And many, many more. Everyone you can see here on screen if you're following us on the visual version. Exciting times. Jaemeel, are you from Hawaii?
Yes, I am. Don't be surprised if you see a Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah. So that's coming up. I'm excited to that. That's not quite. Well, I guess it'll be 2 weeks this Saturday, so that we'll be doing that. So it's sooner than you think. And then also check out my son's podcast. It's called Let's Talk About Fighting Games. You can find that on Spotify or wherever you listen to your audio podcast. That's a video game focused podcast. And with that, guys, I think we can close the book here tonight on
just one last thing.
Did I forget something?
Well, / maybe just something to mention, and that is it is November 10th today, but tomorrow many of us in the Commonwealth and also in the US celebrate thank you, Sam, and Veterans Day for the individuals in the US. So we would like to pay our condolences to the soldiers that have given up their lives for us to have freedom throughout the world in various military forces, the soldiers and servicemen who are continuing living today. Bless them all. There you go. Right. And, I hope all the best for them. And for those who don't celebrate, I'm going to be off tomorrow and I will be eating nuggets in tribute.
I'm off too. Yeah. Federal employee.
Yep.
Well, I got to friggin' work.
Well, at 11:11 or 11, please have a moment of silence. I will too. Everyone, happy Veterans Day, happy Remembrance Day, lest we forget.
Yes, absolutely. Well said. And we'll see you next week for the next episode of Survivor.
That's how you do it right there.
That's how you do it.